Okay, we are recording, Rob, so just for the record, if everybody can announce their name before they talk. When we make a statement, that'd be helpful for the recording.
All right, so this is Rob Marcellia. It's 4:34. We will officially call the meeting to order. Sorry, Sandy. In the interest of being thorough, we will seat alternates Bobby Mitchell and Blunt White. And our next order of business would be approval of outstanding minutes. Sandy, I think we have 2 months worth. Does that sound right? No, just one?
You have February 18th.
Oh, that's right. We never met. No. Okay. February 18th. Okay. Is there a motion to approve these minutes as written?
Julie Holland, so moved.
Bobby Mitchell, second.
All right. A motion was made and seconded to approve minutes from February 18th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye or signify a thumbs up. Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Bobby Mitchell, aye.
All right. Sandy, it was unanimous. All right. At this point, thank you all for that. At this point, I am going to go on mute and turn the meeting over to Chuck. Chuck, I'd like a very brief, if you could, rundown on the 4 items that are related with what's going on with the commissioning aid, and then we'll proceed from there.
Okay, Rob. I'm just get B, C, and D. To my knowledge, I don't think we've had any progress on that since our last meeting, just given the COVID. Nobody's been on site, so I don't think we've gotten any revised answers, like in the thermostats in the gym and 237, and we haven't had a recent commissioning meeting on the exhaust fan, so we'll have to reconvene on that. I don't know if Peter, if you have any input on that at all.
Pete Anderson. No, we're kind of like on hold. I've got both buildings in an unoccupied mode, so it would be unfair to really make any comment about it. It's been like that for the last 8 weeks.
So I think that would apply to item A as well.
Okay. Understood. Okay, so with that, I'll just put down no status. Let's move on then to item 7. Greg or Jim, do you have anything that you wanted to cover with us?
Thanks, Rob. This is Greg Smalley. We forwarded a letter to you covering the outstanding items that we had, offering suggestions for how you might resolve each one of those. I believe that was distributed to the committee members. I do have it here. I can share my screen if you want to go over that.
Greg, if you want to stop sharing, you should be able to share it out.
Okay.
Go ahead, Greg.
Okay. Does everybody see that now?
Yeah.
Okay. So we had a few items that were out for discussion. The first being the trap primers. And we've talked about this a few times. And we had CES and Ferguson did some research and went through the installation instructions, checked the manner of installation and the selection of the product itself. So we had a response in blue is from Ferguson, and saying that in their opinion, these trap primers are installed properly and offer the proper supply. And we go down to the purple. This is CES's reply, where they reached out directly to Watts, who's the manufacturer, and the understanding of their functioning of the device is that it is installed, will function as currently installed, but because it's not installed directly on a branch that uses a frequently used fixture, the trap primers are not seeing enough pressure drop. So the summary was specified units are correct and are intended to save water, but from what we're seeing in the field, they're not getting enough of a pressure drop to actively fill the trap. Thus, we're getting the sewer gas. The suggestion was either follow through with Peter's direction from where he was going previously, or to go to one of these two other suggestions, which may save a little bit of money over the long run in how they operate. So the feeling right now when I talked with John Hawley about this is perhaps this is work that Ferguson could do under construction contingency, which would take the pressure off of Peter's crew to move along with getting these replaced. But the bottom line here is that what was specified and the manner in which it was installed are proper for everything except for the actual operating parameters in the field, which would be impossible to determine beforehand. So if there's questions on the trap primers, we can stay on this page for a second.
So this just came to the recommendation is to replace them with a different product, and that's what these links are to the different products to replace them.
That's correct, June. To either replace them with the type that Peter and his crew had started to install, or to go with this alternative. Both will affect a adequate solution.
Yeah, this is John Hawley. I can also add a little bit to it because I was pretty involved with Greg and with GES and with Ferguson as we reviewed these. So just to add to the discussion, we've had Ferguson look at the order of magnitude of installing these. There's about 20 of these drains in each school. So I have one question for Peter. Peter, you had commented that they were drying up. So this proposal is sort of based on replacing them all. And I wonder if you know, is it all of them, or is it just happened in a couple of locations? And maybe the answer should just be all. So you can comment on that maybe in a moment. But to do them all, there's two options. One is called a trap guard, which is a fairly simple flapper device that doesn't meet the building codes. CES recommended it. And they were not worried about flows to the drains. It would be restricted. In the case of condensate drainage, Peter Anderson had been replacing with what they call a constant drip fat primer, which does exactly what it sounds like. It constantly drips, and therefore it keeps the primer and keeps the P-trap constantly filled. It uses a little bit more water, but it is obviously maybe the most reliable version because it's always getting things back. Just so you understand the order of magnitude, each is about $2,000 per each school for the trap guard one, the simpler one, which CES had recommended, and it's about $4,000 for Dean's Mill and say $3,600 for the constant drip units to go in. All of those options are supportable within the CM contingency that remains. So I think really just need Peter Anderson to confirm that he think they should all be replaced, and then confirm his preference, and then see if anyone has any exception to that.
Pete Anderson here. I would say that we should replace all of them, and that's the sure solution. We have noticed though that most of the ones that do not activate are the ones farthest away from where the most amount of water is used. But in the absence of hot and humid weather, we're not getting any of the condensate, so this obviously only happens around fall and winter into spring. But yes, I would say we should replace all of them.
do you feel strongly on the constant drip versus the trap guard, understanding it's about double the cost? Your concern that the condensate flow may be restricted was shared with CES. They indicated back in an email, and I don't know if it's included here, but CES commented back that they have them, used them in locations that they originally were not a plumbing code approved, have been approved in the plumbing code for a simple trap guard, and they were not worried about the flow. But I think this just defers to your preference of constant drip versus the trap guard style. And again, it's about double the cost, but understand that it's completely maintenance-free and will be worry-free for you. I think you weigh in and then see if the committee has any objections, and we just proceed with your recommendation.
I haven't looked at the constant guard yet. I mean, like I said, the only ones we had were the adjustable drip ones. So it's the less maintenance we have to do on it, the better it's going to be in the long run. It's just something that we just need to have them. We need to avoid the sewer gas odors. That's my number one concern right now.
John, can you review the cost again? Is it $2,000 per unit or $2,000 total?
So $2,000 per school to use the trap guard type, which are actually with the screen Greg is sharing. There's links to that with the program system.
Yeah.
Trap guard. And then it's about $4,000 for Jeansville and about $3,600 for West Vine to use what they call a constant drip, or adjustable drip style that Peter's referred to, and that's what AP's used. So we put a couple that he's already done.
Yeah. So from your experience or anyone else's, do you have a feel for which one of the two is going to be less maintenance and replacement over the next 50 years?
So I certainly wouldn't call myself expert on this. CVS made the recommendations for this trap guard file, and they included these links and said their understanding is they don't require maintenance and that they consider them to be reliable and appropriate. But I think this is one of those things where people have experiential preferences. I think maybe we should leave this, if the committee is comfortable with it, that Peter Anderson simply maybe take a little bit of time, look at these on the links, and he gave me on what we call the constant drip style, and he said to me, if you're comfortable that he make the call, we would then proceed with his preference after he reviews these links and confirms whether he's comfortable with one style or the other.
Yeah, I'd like to look at them. I'm on the site right now for program. If I can have till tomorrow to look at this and get an idea and then I can send an email out to everybody giving my recommendation versus what we put in.
And that's fine. And so, Rob, these are within the instruction manager's contingency and within the allowable authorization values. So if the committee, no one had any objections, you could just defer to Peter's choice afterwards. Or you could have him feed you back and then have the committee make a choice. It's up to you.
Well, the max is going to be $4,000 per school. I think I'm personally inclined to, let Peter make the right technical decision for the district, and then we'll resolve it at next meeting with a vote.
Hi, this is June. Yeah, Rob, I don't think we need to vote on it because it's under $5,000. Is that right? Isn't it? If it's under $5,000 and it's in SAM contingency, then we don't need to approve that. Is that correct? It can just get done.
That is correct, June. Sorry, it's John Hawley again. It was just. You might have an opinion, but it is contractually, it's within the CM contingency under $5,000 per school. We would be able to simply proceed. We just wanted to discuss it tonight. The discussion.
Oh, that's great. Then I'm even more inclined. If no one else on the committee objects, I'm comfortable with letting Peter complete his reviews of the two options, make a decision, work with John and Nate and get this scheduled to get completed.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Just Peter, if you could just this is June, if you could just let us know which one you pick. I'm in total agreement with you, Rob.
Okay. All right. No objections to any of that from anybody?
No.
Okay, good. Then let's just proceed that way. Peter, you good with that?
Yeah, Peter, yeah, I'm fine. I'm starting to recall some of this. I did go through some of the probe ends, but I'll get back to you tomorrow after I take a good hearty look at it in the morning.
Okay, thanks. Hey, Sandy, just for completeness, I see that Deb Whitmer just joined.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, yep, and Chuck, thanks for the text. All right, so Deb, just to catch you up with the meeting, we are in item number 7, architect updates. Greg's been running us through the first topic, and now we're going to proceed into the second topic. So go ahead, Greg, back to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. This is Greg again. The second question that came back to us was volleyball line striping. And we had a issue at West Vine, and John and I spent a while talking about this and went through the drawings. And John, you can certainly jump in here, but the conclusion on this was that it falls to Gilbane's contractor to correct the striping on the court. And with the schools not being accessible right now, I'm not aware of where the schedule is for resolution on this.
Yeah, so John Hawley, I'll go ahead and update the committee on this one. So it's been a little bit difficult to chase down because the school was closed for a period of time with COVID. And Nate General, who was on the call, was able to get over there, still verify and confirm the dimensions of the court are 24 feet. That's fine. They are constructed at 30 feet at Dean's Mill. What's been difficult is it's almost 2 years ago that this work was done, and it's been difficult to determine exactly why it happened. So the flooring, and that's true for the flooring contractor too. So we put the flooring contractor on notice, but nothing we can find indicated he should have done what he did. And we're waiting for confirmation because we just confirmed the dimensions were in fact wrong, so we could put them on formal notice. He's going to make suggestions for repairs that we plan to come back to the committee with. I'll just briefly describe, assuming they are doing this mistake, the options will be to add lines, and you will have an incorrect line on the floor, and you add a new line, which it happens fairly often because people add sports and gyms, and you can add a line and then reseal the floor, and we have to drill in new sleeves for the volleyball nets so that they could be out at the full court size. And then you can abandon the existing and fix the flush and they're there for all stuff anyway and simply put them in a new spot. And we'll make the recommendation once we hear from the flooring contractor and confirm they're owning up to this, and that they're going to stand behind their installation. Either way, we expect them to. It clearly looks like it was installed wrong. The reason it's taken so long is no one used the gym for volleyball until recently, and when they tried, they realized the nets they bought were too big, and the reason why is the court was painted too small. So there will be a few options. There will be more severe options if you want to scratch off the lines and refinish the floor. That does take away some of the useful life of the floor, and including taking out the old sleeves and patching in the floor, which would probably never look right. Because I don't know exactly what they were going to recommend and whether they've got a better solution, I plan on coming back with a little menu of it, and we'll walk the committee through a discussion at the next meeting. No one's playing volleyball in there right now. I assume the gyms are closed for a while. So at the next meeting, we'll come back with a solution, and then hopefully something we can implement very quickly.
This is Deborah Whitmer. May I qualify? May I clarify?
Sure.
So, I think we did not start volleyball because the sleeve inserts were too big, so we had to wait until those were ordered. And then once we got the standards put in, we realized that the court was too narrow. Regardless of the line striping, the court was too narrow for us to install the net. So the top of the volleyball net is a very thick table, a metal table, and so we weren't able to in any way connect the net up where we could wind it around the standard, and that actually was the major problem, is being able to set the net.
Okay, thanks, Deb.
Yeah, I understood it, and I think that will be corrected when the poles are put at the correct width of the court.
Right.
So the poles are supposed to be 3 feet outside the edge of the court, and right now they are 3 feet outside of a 24-foot court, and they're supposed to be 3 feet outside of a 30-foot wide court, and then the nets would work.
I don't see an issue with leaving the existing line where it is and just painting a different color, even leaving the existing covers where the pole inserts are now, and just leaving that flush and installing new ones.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's going to be the least detrimental repair, so that basically we don't want the cure to be worse than the disease. And I think it'll look fine and work fine, but again, we want to put that to the committee. If it was done wrong by the contractors, we could demand more, I guess, severe repairs, maybe. I'm not sure that's the right word. I don't know if that's in anyone's benefit, but let me get back to you after I talk to the actual gym contractor.
All right, thank you, John. Yeah, I think.
Hi, Rob. It's Julie Hollenscheit. Can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Sure. Question. So, and I apologize for this last minute ask. So, with the volleyball lines that are being put up, and I apologize, is that something I know we got Board of Ed and other members on, but is that something down the line, say the high school puts together a volleyball team, or the rec puts in a volleyball team? Is that regulational line that we're looking at? I do apologize. It's just kind of a last minute question.
Currently, it's not regulation. Currently, it's, what did you say, John, 24 feet? And it has to be 30 feet. So, even the length is not regulation. The length should be 60 feet. And you know what we measured, John? What the length is?
I believe they're only 48 feet, and that's based on the size of the gyms.
Right. So once we added the bleachers, it decreased that figure. So I don't think we could ever play regulations, high school regulation, but certainly for elementary and middle school, we at least need the width, because we would have to have our nets custom made.
What do these run like across the floor, like a half court, not the full length of the court?
Yes.
Oh, I see. So you could have 2 volleyball games going at the same time.
There's a volleyball cut out for each half of the gym.
Okay. Thank you, Deb.
Sure.
All right, Julie, does that answer your question?
Yeah, and I do apologize for the last minute question. I just think I'm always forward thinking as far as any potential for leagues or high school team in the future, because obviously I know in the winter months, there's always a struggle as far as space. And I know there's been interest in the past, so I apologize that I'm bringing this up, last minute. But, I mean, things like that I think we just always need to be thinking about. But obviously I'm kind of asking this question very last, kind of end of the game here. So.
Well, Julie, we were all disappointed once we got out the measuring tape that it wasn't regulation. If we ever decided to do regulation, we could put a court in the middle of the gym. We would have to put it that way. So when you go to when you go to several high schools, they usually play their varsity games with only one court cut out of the middle of the gym, and they play their JV games from side to side, and we would have to do something like that.
Okay. So that I'm just having the conversation down the line, even if it was an area that the high school could practice down the line, rec could practice. At least it's another space. So I thank you.
All right, Greg, let's move on then to item 3.
Okay. So this is the sink replacement. It was a request to make some suggestions, and for replacement of the sinks, the Bradley units are the basis of comparison for most of these types of sinks. And CES went back through some projects they had just done recently and forecast $8,000 to $9,000 for the Bradley units, or $5,000 to $6,500 for comparable acceptable substitutes. They prepared a bulletin for that, which we've included with the material that was sent forward, and that's well within the expectation made at the last building committee meeting to get these addressed. And that bulletin could be used either with an outside contractor or through John and Nick's group at Gilbane, or Nate's group at Gilbane.
Rob,
we think we're at a point where we probably need to make a decision to make something happen this summer, right?
Yes.
This is June, so I just, ask a question, Rob.
Yeah, go ahead.
So these are the Bradley units. These are the single, like, cross-like sinks where there's one solid piece and you've got several sinks. Is that to remind us that that's what these are?
That is correct, June.
So, and then, because I know that we have in these the bathrooms down by the cafeteria, we have a lower sink. So could these be made also, instead of it all being in one level, one height, we can have one sink that's lower? Can they be made like that? Is that priced in like this, or is this all just at one level instead of 2 levels?
These are at 1 level.
Okay. Because we would need 2 levels for the bathroom by the cafeteria. And this is much less expensive than what we have budgeted for the replacement of them. Well, maybe not, because this is just for one bathroom, right? And not for school.
That's correct. That's each bathroom.
Okay. For each bathroom. Okay. So I think because we went around with having these sinks, having one sink at a lower height. And maybe this is an opportunity for us to maybe do that in the bathrooms by the gymnasium that were installed prior to being able to move one bathroom down, like looking at all the regulations for that, when you look moving one sink down. I like the idea of one solid unit. We need to be able to do it for 2 heights. So, Greg, can you find out if that's possible?
I will check on that, June. It might also be possible to get the entire unit mounted at the lower child height and still make the ADA clearance underneath. Because these can be thinner than a typical sink. Let me follow up with CES on that.
But wait, what? It's more than just an ADA height thing. I thought we were, as the building transitions from use during the day as a school to use in the evening as a public space for recreation, I guess I always just thought that we were going to pursue the multiple height sink and not defer to a sink that would support a kindergarten height person.
Right, ideally, I agree, Rob. Ideally, I think if we have sinks at different heights, you know, we have one that's smaller and then two larger, or two smaller and one larger, just so that you've got, you know, a 6-foot adult by the gymnasium at nighttime that they can at least wash their hands, right? We all need to wash our hands for 20 seconds. So I think if we could do something with 2 heights, then that would be ideal.
Okay. I don't have the bulletin right here with me. I'll look at it and let you all know what's possible with these.
Okay.
I just want to say that I agree with that. It definitely needs to be 2 heights. It's, you know, we're going to have a lot of traffic, a lot of adults using that bathroom, and, you know, we don't want any scrutiny as far as how we design that. So no, I totally agree. Like two heights are definitely important to that area. Thanks.
Is the comparable acceptable substitute, is that a sink like a Bradley sink, or is it a different design with a multiple height countertop?
2-part question, Rob. They are comparable to the Bradley, so material-wise and durability, they're comparable. Design-wise, there's always going to be slight differences in shape, and I'm not sure if anyone on this list does or does not offer a multiple height as a single unit. I'll go back through the bulletin, and if it's not in there, I'll talk to CES to see what might be possible.
Hey, Greg, Jim Barrett here. I just wanted to offer, I'm doing that dangerous thing and looking on the internet while we're having the discussion. It appears as though they may offer 2 heights in a single sink, and that's something that we can explore and bring back to the committee next meeting.
Thank you, Jim.
Sure.
Yeah, please let us know as soon as you know so that we can be prepared at the next meeting to make a decision. Okay, good. Greg, let's move on to the next one.
Okay, our last one's the water pressure issue at Dean's Mill. Let's take this out in 2 steps. The first was the question of, was anything that was done in the interim now redundant? And we put this to CES a couple of different ways, and they came back each time and said, no, each one of the pieces that was installed serves a distinct function and need, and we continue to operate once the final solution for this was discovered. They also did not have any records of interaction with Aquarian regarding the meter sizing beyond providing flow and use demands as a standard, and then Aquarian provided the meter. I provided an overview of the matter back to 2018. Since this was written, most on the committee should be aware that Aquarian has some technicians out on site and have acknowledged the sizing of the meter might be a bit too small for the building, and we have prepared a bulletin and forwarded that information to Nate today for a drawing from MMI, our civil engineer, and from CES on the plumbing side for replacement of the piping as needs to come out to accommodate a larger meter. And I don't know if John, you or Nate have more to add to that from this morning's conversation.
I'll ask Nate see if he's ready. I know we were trying to get very quick rough order of magnitude pricing together. We received the bulletin today, but I think we may have numbers, again, unvetted, and they're just required CMTM if the committee wanted to authorize it. But you know, there was a certain amount of urgency at one point about this. Obviously, that's changed with COVID because the usage is down, but there is an opportunity to go ahead and get this work done. Busy is ready, and Ferguson is ready. Nick, do you have the numbers that you could share with the committee what we received?
Yes, I do, John. This is Nate Gingerella with Gilbane. We did receive a rough order of magnitude number from Ferguson based on the sketch that was issued today from DRA. They came back with a order of magnitude for $30,000. We also got a rough order of magnitude for the site work that is required from MISI, and they came back with a rough order of magnitude of $16,000 for their work. So we're looking at a total of almost $50,000 rough order of magnitude.
Can you describe the nature of the work that MISI has to do? Or Greg, either one.
Greg, is it possible for you to share your screen and the sketch you issued from MRI? Maybe that would be the easiest way to walk through it.
Sure, if everyone can give me a second to find it.
Yeah. So, Greg, specifically what I'm interested in understanding is why we have to do something with the hole in the ground or something like that. I got it. I got it. Understand that.
Sure.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm right. No, the wrong screen. I'll drag it over here. So this is the site work here, I think. Right. You see that?
Yeah, that's good. All right,
so Rob, the meter pit's right here. Currently, there's a pit and the meter's in there. So my understanding is to go in, they'll remove the meter. On either side of the meter, you have 4-inch coming in this way and 4-inch coming in this way with an 1.5 meter. Essentially, take the meter out and connect it with a 4-inch pipe. Real simple. Making that sound easier than what it is. But take the meter out, backfill it. So essentially, you have a 4-inch line that just does that. So it's got basically an expansion loop now, for lack of a better term. But the difference is one's a site-related contractor, the other one's inside the building. It's mechanical. That's why we have two different contractors. Then the other one,
yeah, is that a one-line schematic? Like what?
This here?
Yeah.
That is, yeah, that's the site utility line, correct. That's outside. This is your entrance by the bus loop coming in here. This point of contact is Deans Mill Road. Going this way.
Okay. Yep. So we have to make this hole bigger to accommodate the 4-inch pipe, or?
No, basically this is a pit, Rob, and what is happening is that's where the meter's at. So this is the restriction. It's 1.5 inches in diameter. This is where the restriction's at.
Oh.
So essentially take that meter out, cut it on either end, and connect it back with, make this all 4-inch basically.
Is it buried or is it in a manhole?
It's in a pit. It's like in a manhole right now. I think the goal, the recommendation is to get rid of the meter and get rid of the manhole altogether. You really won't need it. It's just going to be pipe. Do I understand that right, Greg?
I believe you got that right.
Chuck, I think if you shrink your view a little, you'll see the rest of the note to the top. I think it's describes the work.
That one right there, John?
Yeah, so, and Nate, I don't know if you have any description of the scope from Mizzy's piece, in terms of any breakdown of what they saw.
Yes, I do. So there's obviously there's some repair cost for the water main fitting and pipe for the introduction of the new water meter into the line. They did carry some repair for topsoil and bedding sand for the new piping as it is exposed. And then they also did carry a new testing and flushing of the system. Once the line is broken, they figured that contamination can enter the pipe, so they figured to carry another round of testing and flushing of the water main.
And So this is maybe a dumb question, but why can't we just put the 4-inch water meter where the 1.5-inch water meter is, make all the piping, including these bends, 4-inch bends? We have too much pressure drop, is that why?
I think that's probably a question for CES, who responding to the design we received, Rob, and I'm not sure. I think, I'm assuming this is the proper way to complete this revision.
Rob, this is Greg. We looked at both, two different locations for the meter, and I don't have the back and forth on the conversation, but one was to put the meter out here, the other was to place the meter closer to the building, and the conclusion was that closer to the building was more advantageous for the long-term use of the building, and I believe there was also some opinion that it was going to be the cheaper approach to installing it. If we bear in mind, these are rough orders of magnitude on a series of sketches that these guys had early this morning. They could certainly refine the numbers when they get familiar with it. But to move the meter closer to the building required work in this pit, and if I recall correctly, work closer to the building if we were to put the meter here.
Okay, I understand. All right, so does the committee want to make a motion then? Well, all right, before I go down that road, are there any other questions?
Judy, I have one question. And I think this clarification. So Aquarian came up with the recommendation for this 1.5-inch meter, and for the meter that has 1.5-inch piping. And it's Aquarian's meter, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And so they'll supply the meter. They'll still supply the correct meter. Or do we have to? Is that part of the cost?
I don't know if I know that yet.
Do you know if they agreed to absorb the cost?
I don't think we've gotten that far down the road, June. I think, you know, and I've displayed the email that shows the two options, by the way. I think Peter Anderson, I think we got this from Barbara maybe, from Aquarian possibly, a little ways back.
Okay.
I'm trying to show some of the trail here, and I think we forwarded these all before.
Yeah.
I think I copied and pasted this from, this is from Jesse.
No, Beverly from Aquarian.
Yeah, but that came from Jesse after Jesse from CES, talking with her, and we haven't really gotten in, and these are order of magnitude. I would not recommend approving going forward with any of this based upon the order of magnitude. I think there's just too much to be vetted out. But these are I think the discussions were, let's first get it fixed, first and foremost, and then I think if we find that this gets resolved and it was a meter, I think that's a discussion between the town and Aquarian of, hey, you know, you told us which one to use, then you came back and said it's the wrong one. That might be a discussion behind the scenes, maybe June with, you know, maybe the first selectman in Aquarian and maybe coming up with an agreement somehow.
Okay.
I think we have to pay, if we have to pay the contractor to do it, we do it and then maybe make that argument later on outside of, the contractor shouldn't be in the middle of it, I guess is what we're saying.
You know, I agree. I just wanted to be reminded of the order of events.
Yeah, I would assume that it includes it though, June. If there's any cost, I assume Ferguson would carry, Aquarian costs, and we would just see that in their bill.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Chuck, I just want to confirm one thing. I know you said you wouldn't recommend proceeding with this. At one point, I think the committee was anxious, or the school was anxious to proceed. I just qualified as Ferguson, and we said it would have to be done for them in the next 8 weeks, and I didn't, there's no explanation, but I can imagine being a schools contractor, it means that they don't have the available resources once the summer season hits. I'm not trying to add pressure to a decision, it just might not be Ferguson, and it could be pursued however they want to pursue it. If they want to proceed, it can be done on time and materials, or I don't know if a decision a month from now will work, and I just leave that to the committee to decide. If they did it time materials, I don't know that that's the best way to proceed. I think when that was being discussed before, again, there was maybe more urgency.
I would suggest that now that we have the drawings in hand, John, that Gilbane we just got these today, so we're not even 8 hours into this thing from the drawings. Have you guys go back, have them give us a hard number, and let's negotiate out the price. If we have to call a special meeting, we ask for a special meeting and do this and approve it and move it on. We don't have to wait a month, I don't think. That's my thought.
Hi, this is June. I agree. I mean, WebEx seems to be working. So, I mean, if we could find a time that's agreeable to everybody, we could probably have a meeting just to vote on this fix for Dean's Mill and the sink. In the one-piece sink. So if we could get both of those in short order, then I think we can, we can call a meeting and just vote on these 2 items.
Okay, that seems reasonable.
Yeah.
All right. Good. Greg or Jim, then, do you have anything else?
Final piece was that Chuck and I have gone through the punch list items, the punch list, and I'll leave it to Chuck to update the committee on that when we get to the OPM report.
Yep, I have those ready.
Very good.
All right. So with that, then, thank you, Greg. I will turn the agenda over to Nate or John from Gilbane and move to item 8.
I'll start and I'll ask Nate for some support. So it's John Hawley. So under item 8, we've actually covered most of the items. But we'll start with the first one. A review of open punch list. Nate shared on earlier this week, I believe, the updated version of the punch list. It's not different than it was before because our opportunity to get into the school to do the work was stopped by COVID. So we have a total of 8 open items in Dean's Mill. And 1 open item at West Vine that we have listed as bill in our court. Each of those is listed on the right-hand column with notes of where we'll try and complete that work now. Again, if you have to sort, I'm not sure who's sharing the screen, but if you sort by Gilbane and open items.
Yeah, give me a sec, John. Chuck, I have I'll sort by you guys as well for open items.
So,
yeah.
So why doesn't the contractor have access to the school here?
Well, when the schools were initially closed, they were closed for, I think, 3 weeks initially without any access, was our understanding. And we've now gotten access.
Oh, you have access now?
Yeah, well, Peter, maybe you can comment. Are custodians in the buildings every day now?
Yeah, we have, we can limit the contractors down to 1, no more than 5 at a time.
Yeah, and that's fine for these 2 remaining items. So we plan on going in the next couple of weeks and wrapping up the work. Our initial goal, Rob, was to do it during April break, and that's when we understood the school was not there was no access well. But
yeah, I think I understand that. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, so from Gilbane's perspective on the items that you have left, you think you're good to go with what you're going to do. I was curious about one thing, this item, the soffit that's above the double doors, that's the wrong color. Is repainting that, right, is that going to hold up over time? My worry is that as we painting metal, or repainting metal, the heat and the cold and the painted surface will not hold up over time. I guess I was expecting that it was going to be replaced with a panel of the correct color.
So, Dave, I don't know if you can update on any conversations you've had with the contractor.
Yeah, the only thing I can mention in regards to that is that they would, if they were to do the repair with removing of the panel, they would just take it back to their shop and paint it in their shops, because that is the factory application. It's just a paint, and they are using the same paint that the factory would use, except they're just painting it in the field on site.
What's the method of application?
Spray.
Okay. All right.
With all the necessary protection needed, obviously, to protect all the surroundings.
Yeah. Yep.
So Rob, we did send out this full list. Chuck Warrington here. We sent out the full list of the complete list, closed and open items in a PDF form, and then a list with the open items as well for everybody to see.
Yes, so ultimately, and Chuck, maybe you're going to go through this during the other parts. Obviously, I'm addressing the open domain items. There are some items that were raised as questions for various parties, and we created a list so you can drop it down and look. And by open and closed, and each party, I haven't seen any other responses, but we've been tackling those items that are original contract and punch list. And just to wrap up our section, Rob, because maybe we'll move to the review of the rest of the punch list. So everything that's in our court is scheduled for the next few weeks. The second item is the resolution of trap farmer, which we discussed at length and resolved. The third item is the concrete locker base and misalignment with soffits on the agenda, and that is actually been transferred over to the open punch list. We met with the contractors and sort of duked it out over responsibilities, and we are proceeding with getting the work repaired properly and without any cost to the committee. And the fourth item we've already discussed regarding the prayer meeting and the proposal. So that was it for open construction manager items.
Rob, I have a question. This is Dan Oliverio. The trees that I mentioned last night in the email that I sent, Rob, I saw them on the list, but I didn't see who was responsible for those.
So, Danny, I can speak to that. This is Nate. I did see the images that you sent over. We have currently scheduled a landscape walkthrough review with MMI and some of the design team and some of the school staff facilities with the landscape architect and Mizzy for Monday. We tried to keep it a small meeting, so we will discuss those items when we perform our walkthrough on Monday at both schools.
All right, thanks. There's number 304, I think it was on the list.
Hi, Julie Holland here. Danny, you were reading my mind. You know, since COVID and we don't have access to the landscaping, that has been a concern of mine, especially trying to get to the back of these schools. Being that a lot of things have been budding, come bud, in March, April, I didn't know what was under warranty, what was not. So as far as the walkthrough, and I'm sorry, who would be present for that to look at the landscaping to see if the trees are doing okay and what's under warranty? That has been a deep concern of mine because we haven't been able to get back to the school. So who's actually going to be in that walkthrough on Monday is my question. Thank you.
Yep, so we wanted to keep the meeting obviously as small as possible. with the design professionals because of the whole COVID-19 concerns and the distancing concerns. The people that will be in attendance will be myself, the site contractor, one representative from MISI, one representative from the landscape contractor, one representative from MMI, who is the landscape designer, and Peter Anderson. To my knowledge, I don't know if Chuck, if you were planning on being there as well, but that's the list of attendees to my knowledge.
That's the goal.
And again, we are reviewing. The intent is to review Phase B of landscaping for both schools, and the review is to just verify that any punch list items that were identified from MMI were addressed, and that the lawns have been established, the lawn areas.
Thank you. Yeah, I guess my question, again, Julie Holland, I guess my question is I just want to make sure someone's advocating on, if there's anything in question as far as trees, that there's someone advocating for this committee.
Rob, this is Dan Oliverio again. Is it possible to have my folks go to that? I don't know if it's over the number or not, but is it? I mean, I will gladly take a day off from work and go to that for a couple hours, whatever I need, if that's possible.
If this is all going to be outside, Nate, so if that's the case, I would appreciate it if Danny would be able to attend.
I have a mask and all that, so I can bring my own mask.
If that could work out where we have between Danny and Peter, you'd have good advocates for the buildings in the district. So I think that I would appreciate it if Danny would be able to attend.
That is fine with me. Danny, I have your email, and I will send you the invite.
All right, sounds good, Nate. Thank you very much.
Great.
No problem.
Thanks,
Rob.
Thanks a lot. Yep. Okay. All right. So, John and Nate, does that pretty much wrap up your portion of the agenda?
Yes, it does, Rob.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, Chuck, as we move to item 9 in the agenda, I will be, I guess, looking for you, and maybe even throwing it back to Greg a little bit. There were a bunch of items in the punch list, I think, that needed your input, whether it was you or DRA and engineering input to resolve. So I'm looking to get an understanding of when those will be completed to support these open items as well.
Yeah, Rob, so I went through all the ones in the Colliers. There's quite a few of them that were FF&E related. In essence, I think we've resolved all the FF&E. There was furniture, there was mats, there was chair height. I think everybody can recall the efforts we've gone through to resolve all those, reordering mats, we've counted all the chairs. So to the best of my knowledge, these have all been resolved from the FF&E perspective. I'm showing the west line of what's the open ones in Colliers and DRA's court. There's this easel pad. Do not line up with the easel. This is a really old one, but everybody's been out, so I left it open. There's one issue. This one, it says, I'm going to blow it up a little bit. Locks need to be changed in the cabinets so they're different than the rest of the building. So, this is they were installed for the plans. It's a request. The question is, do you want to spend the money to change out locks? I don't know if we need to do that. I don't know, Peter, if that's still been a complaint from the administration on the cabinets, but we'd have to pay a change order to get these things changed out.
Yeah, and I don't even have a feel for what, are they looking to have like one key that operates everything, or I don't understand.
I think they want different locks in the administration office, if I understand that.
Yeah, these are the locks in the admin office or the principal's office. They wanted to have them different so that staff wouldn't be able to go in and take any necessary supplies they deemed necessary. Was it in the original plan to have all the locks one key, or was it scheduled to have two different keys, one for the office, one for the staff?
You know,
This is Greg. It was a single key for all the cabinets throughout the building.
yeah, I think it's the design, you know, this fell obviously before you come on board in construction, and the whole keying issue throughout the building was just, it was never there. There was never any standard. There wasn't any request from the district side. It just because you weren't there at the time, I think it would have came up had you been there in design for it. So I don't think it ever came up on this specific issue. We were having a tough time.
How much it would cost? Sorry.
Can you see those?
Do you have any idea how much it would cost to do this lock job?
Hey, we have any idea on those? Like for the admin office to go through and rekey? What? I don't know. I'm thinking, I mean, the materials I don't think are the big thing. It's probably just the labor to get out there. Probably, I don't know, $1,500 for labor and material. I mean, it might be on the high side there, but you know, by the time you get the material, you drive out, take them out, put them in. It's probably, you know, the guy there or person there for, you know, most of the, you know, good portion of the day, I'm guessing, but I don't know how many there are, because maybe that's not a big space. There's quite a few of those. It takes probably, what, I don't know, 20 minutes to change out. I don't know, maybe not that long, but I don't think it's a big dollar.
Hi, Julie. Hi, Rob, a question. Julie Holland.
Hey, Julia, go ahead.
Hi, I'm so sorry. A question for Peter Anderson. Is that something that is normal, like throughout the high school? And you know, obviously we're getting to the end of this project. I just don't want to be adding to something that really isn't necessary. So is that something that is normal, say in the high school and the middle school, that we have to worry about keys?
No, we haven't. I've never heard any issues. I don't know if the keys in the high school are different than the other cabinet keys around the building. That's a good question. I'm tending to kind of not sweat the small stuff on this here right now, because of the fact that these locks are $5 locks, and my guys could do them in a day. If it's really a concern, and again, if it wasn't in the bid documents or it wasn't in the scope of the project, then we got what we paid for.
Okay. Maybe that's the resolution right there.
I'm not in favor of changing them either.
All right, look, I'm gonna change that to close. And then the rest of these, I think some of the brush and trees, I think that's gonna get resolved in these walkthroughs here. See quite a few of those.
Chuck, can I interrupt for just 1 second?
Absolutely.
We do have one that's not on the list here, and it's that climbing wall, the damaged climbing wall.
Oh, okay.
We have the panel, but that's not been changed out by WB Mason yet.
All right, let me put that on here. That's in the gym.
Yes.
That's on the list. I saw that last night.
What school is that in? Is it both or one?
That's fine.
Oh, well, I don't know if I was looking at the Dean's Mill list. I read that comment last night in one of the lists.
I'll just put it on just to make sure we have it.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost you guys.
That's spelling on repair.
What's that? Oh, yeah. I'm trying to do this quickly, so.
Okay, no, I got it.
So, basketball, so this one here, the backboards in the back of the playground are not plumb. This one's been kind of outstanding, Greg. I'm not sure what we found with that. Maybe you could look at that on Monday. I don't think the base is deep enough, frankly.
Those things cemented into the ground?
Yeah, but I don't think they're deep enough, Rob, frankly speaking. You can hang on these things and they move, and I think bigger kids are probably getting back there and slam dunking and,
okay,
you know, stress them a bit.
Chuck, I can have you close one out. I was at item number 92. Right, I held on to both of the water fountains at the same time for about 5 minutes, and there was no flow difference. They were fine.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
That was close.
Oh, good. All right, thanks, Peter. All right, so, I don't know, we need we need some action to happen on these basketball hoops.
We have to look at Greg, I think we should have to look at the detail and see what we specify for that.
Yeah, this is Greg. We'll have MMI look at those again, see how they did over the winter. I know even in the last time I was on site, you could push those the posts and watch them move in the soil. So it either needs a deeper footing or better soil around it. But we'll have on Monday's site walk, we'll take a look at it.
All right, and then the last one. Oh wait, okay, sorry.
Go back.
Go back because I had one more. Item number 272. Not sure we ever reached a resolution on that one.
And I don't know what the source of it is, but
this is room 145. That's the custodial office down at West Vine. I looked at both of the sprinkle heads, and it appears as though somebody hard plumbed them. Now they are not on the flexible rated plumbing over the panel. They are actually both heads are in the open now.
So is that closed, Peter?
I would close that one out.
Thank you.
Oh, freebie, Greg, you got one there. All right, that's good.
Here, Peter, these thermostats for 137, 165. Does that ring a bell to you at all? An offline.
Yeah, I'm guessing those were found the day we did one of the building committee walkthroughs. Not sure though. It seems about that time, early October. So, all right, if we're done with this list, then can we move on to the next one?
Absolutely. Don't want to do that. So I'm just going to filter for Colliers and DRS. So just so you know, all the district ones, talking to Peter today, close those out. We'll deal with those. That's the ball in their court, so we closed all those, just so you all know.
And DRA MMI.
Oh, thank you.
Add those.
Thank you. Add one. So existing, I just added that today. So this one was back from August of 18. Changing room doors cannot be opened from the inside. I don't know if that rings a bell for Peter or Greg.
Peter, do you know anything on this one?
Sorry about that. I was just online with the heating system. Both changing room doors cannot be opened from the inside. I am unaware of that. That has never come up in any of the custodians. There's never been a complaint about it. I can verify certainly tomorrow.
Okay. We'll leave it open for now.
Okay.
Room 132 music. So the racks for the winger chairs. These are just not. They were never really meant to transport to the gym. I think they were meant for that room, if I understand it correctly, Greg. And these were they were never ordered. The question is, if you want them, we can order them, but everything that was ordered, I think it's been delivered. I think they're stored in the closet, if I remember correctly. So, I guess, again, if the district needs one, we can facilitate that, for that.
Can we step back to 42 for a minute?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm recalling a conversation when we were there that it wasn't that they couldn't open the doors from the inside, it's that they can't lock the doors from the inside, but that's how the locks are designed. I'm going to verify that tomorrow, but I think that's what they were referring to.
I'm just going to put a question mark changed.
Yeah. Okay. So let me. I'll send a blanket email out tomorrow after I've checked that out.
Okay, thank you,
Okay.
Peter.
All right. Room 180. I'm not sure that I'm looking at this. Well,
That's done.
Can we close 65?
Yes, question is, do they need the racks or not? I guess I didn't want to close it without knowing that.
I think this is Alexa, I think we would need to check on that because I'm not sure why we would have, racks for chairs that then you can't move all the racks. Aren't those racks always movable to wherever you need them? Where are these being stored? How far are they from where you would need them?
Alexa, I think the room is the music room, and there's a storage room off the corner of that room that we put those in, but they can take them out into the music room itself for the instrumental music, into that class, and I think that was the intent. But the question is, if the district wants the ability to move them down to the gym per se, or the cafeteria, it's really up, an operational item.
Of course, we would like them, but again, what was specified?
Greg, can you follow up on just the spec on that?
Sure.
Thank you.
Chuck, item 178, you can close out. That's been done.
Thank you.
Next one, 185.
Concrete pad at double doors in your cafeteria. Maybe Greg, if you could check that on the walkthrough.
Not sure what the question with that is, if it's
I can tell you it's a mess. I think it's a combination of, something that was left from when, we converted that area as the entrance, the old entrance to Dean's Mill School, and now, basically, probably an infrequently used door. And that concrete area that's in that foyer, is really poor. There's, again, like it says, it's not even, there's places where it's different heights. There's a fair amount of damage to some of that concrete. Not sure why. Greg, in fairness, I don't know that you could have probably anticipated what that would have looked like as construction evolved in the area. But if you would take a look at that when you're there, I would greatly appreciate it. See if there's something we can do with a 1-inch skim coat or something that just overall improves what that area looks like and minimizes any opportunity for someone to trip or something like that.
Okay.
I'd appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Yep.
So this one here, I think it might be, I don't know if it's a paddle, like an 88 button or something, but they're saying it should be in the wall rather than mounting it on the wall. I'm not sure, I don't know what it looks like. I'm not sure where that came from. I might take a walk through. So I'm not sure if that could be fixed easily. Both of these items here. Maybe, Greg, you just take a quick look at those and see if I don't know if there's anything we can do, but.
I think I remember that one too. It just struck us as unusual that that's what we would have specified and paid for.
I want to look into that one. It may have been that I know we added some control wiring later, and I'm wondering if that isn't it.
Okay, yeah, take a look then. If that's the case, then so be it.
Okay. 304, I'm not sure what you want to do with that. If those were trees that came down as part of the planting plan, the walkthrough on Monday will confirm that everything that was supposed to be planted was planted. This reads, it's kind of like a request to replace those trees. I'm not sure where this one comes from.
Yeah, it comes from our October walkthrough, Greg.
Those pictures, Rob, this is Dan Oliveira that I sent you last night also.
So what we couldn't tell, Greg, is what was specified. Should there be trees there, or should there, was the plan to have those trees cut down? Mm-hmm. It appeared to us on our walkthrough that those trees were planted. Maybe they didn't make it as part of the first phase of construction, and they were cut down, but then they were replaced. That's how it appeared.
Okay.
So if you could check on that, we'd appreciate that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks.
I just had the last room for the gang things, Rob, to keep in front of us.
Yep. Good. Okay.
All right.
All right. So we're certainly getting down to the end here, but if some of those are going to require Gilbane to line up to get some work done, and obviously we'll need those answers, in the near future to feed Gilbane to keep the train rolling with getting the contractors lined up. So between Greg and Chuck, if you're going to ask Gilbane to do some work, please get them the info they need as soon as you can so that they can proceed while the opportunity is still there to get that work done. All right?
Got it.
Okay, thanks a lot, guys. All right. So Chuck, let's keep going here.
Yeah. Update on BMS programming. Peter, I don't know if is ADF all set with the programming additional that you needed?
I don't think they've done anything. Everybody's been on hold with this, the lockdown.
All right, so let's leave that on the list just as a follow-up. Radon test reports. So Langdon did those, and they, if I remember the reports correctly, and I think we distributed those. There is zero indication of any radon, Peter?
Yes, but well below standard.
So that one can be closed, Rob. We can take that one off the list.
Taking it off.
Sounds good. Invoices and financial status report. So, I'm going to do the financial status report, Rob. First, so Dean's Mill, we are projecting $2,471,000 for potential savings. That accounts for $75,000 for the Bradley sinks we're discussing. We've encumbered that.
Okay.
And it also assumes from Gilbane a pretty decent return of general conditions, CM contingency, et cetera, roughly $760,000. That's going to change with some of the items we're talking about. So that number's in fluctuation, but I think I'm expecting it still to be a healthy number, but that takes into account that return right now. So this number will go down a little bit from the almost 2.5 million, but I think you're still in really good shape overall.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's great news. Okay, and then what about West Pine?
West Pine, we're projecting $1,134,000. Right here, again, that's taken into account, we've encumbered $75,000 for the sinks. Pretty much everybody's been paid out, Rob, with the exception again of Gilbane. Similar story to Dean's Mill. This is probably going to come down a little bit, but around $944,000 return. I think it's going to be less, but still a good, healthy return overall.
Okay. So, seems like we're looking somewhere in the range of 3.5 to 3.6 million under budget when all is said and done. So,
that include Pawcatuck Middle School?
well, no, I was gonna say,
There's more there.
it was about 200,000 at Pawcatuck Middle.
Yeah.
And that's a really great job all around. So that's good news. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So Dean's Mill invoice packet. We just received an invoice from Northeast Scoreboards that'll talk about that. I just got it today, so I added it here for consideration. You don't have to act on it if you don't want to. We did review it in the finance subcommittee. So there's 3 invoices. One's for Gilbane for the month of April for $266,709. Kyers, our invoice for March. That's for we're starting our closeout and audit exercises to get ready for that final push. A lot of Gilbane is release of retainage. We're tracking all the different bid packages as they're being requested in a log. I'll show you kind of, we're doing this primarily for Dean's Mill. You can see the list of the bid packages here and ones that have been released. We're also tracking which Gilbane invoice was it released in so that for the auditors down the road, they need to find it. Hopefully they can find it faster. And it's also to help us track it. And then tracking lien waivers. I've talked to Nate already. We're missing a few lien waivers on a few, so they're going to follow up with those. They have that paperwork. Just want to make sure we have it for record. Just wanted to share that with you. So most of those dollars are associated with that and some additional work. And then the Northeast scoreboard. So, and these are the 2 scoreboards at each of the schools. Brian, who owns Northeast Scoreboard, said they're going to be arriving this week, and he said he'd be able to install them next week. So he'd asked if we could pay him for the materials when they ship. I said we can certainly present that, and I told him what I'm going to recommend is if we do approve it, conditional upon him providing proof that they're in his shop, to send us an email with some photographs, with the pieces. He said he'd be able to install them next week. I don't know if that's a possibility, Peter. I copied you on the email. You may not have caught up yet, but figure what I would suggest to the committee is if he can install next week, do a conditional approval for the entire invoice subject to him invoicing, him installing them, providing all the controllers, and having them fully installed and stuff for that. But totally up to the committee how you want to approach that. Or for
he's welcome to come.
Sorry, Peter?
I'm sorry, Pete Anderson. Yeah, send him on down. Let's get him put up.
Okay. So, totally up to the committee. If we're going to have a special meeting in a couple weeks, we can hold this and then just approve it at that point. If they're all installed, we can do either one. So totally up to the committee. It's a small contractor where, they're going to take this out of his pocket, just trying to keep the cash going.
This is June. I'm okay with paying the $6,330 tonight. And then once it's installed, we can add the balance to our invoice sheets and just approve it. So, our invoice sheets already have the 6,000 plus on it, and I'm okay with paying him for the materials that he's spent money on receiving. So we can keep the invoices as they are printed, as they're presented right now. That's my recommendation.
Hi, Julie Holland. Just a question. Chuck, I know previous meeting we made changes to the signage on those scoreboards. I just want to double check. I'm just kind of like one that double checks, triple checks that the changes were made.
Yeah, let me follow up with that, Julie. Let me put it.
I think it was, and if you recall, it was a question to have. I believe it was home and visitor versus West Pine and Dean's Mill on the labeling. So again, I know things kind of fall through the cracks because it's such a busy project. If you can just double check on that, I would appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem, Julie. I'm just going to put I'm just looking at a couple of quick emails here. I might be able to. The colors we got approved by the principals. They took care of that today. But I'll check on that, Julie. It's because it's vinyl, so it's pretty easy to change out, I would think, if we need to, so.
Okay. Again, I just want to double check before they get installed. I just, again, let's try to catch something in case there's a problem. Thank you.
Yeah. So you want home and away, correct?
Whatever the committee decided in that meeting, it was either home and visitor or home and away. Either one is acceptable. But yeah, I just want to double check because definitely we all had issues with it having West Vine and Dean's Mill on there. It just didn't make sense for rec programs. Thanks.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. That conversation there, for it, and
I thought we were going to do home and visitor.
It'll something like that for sure.
I think that's right, Deb and Julie. I think that's right.
Yeah, I just sent an email to them right now as we speak, so don't forget, so.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I hate to be so trivial, but those things kind of matter. So if you can check on that, I do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yep.
No problem.
Okay, so, yep. All right, so if the finance subcommittee is good with this invoice, is there a motion to approve?
Yeah, this is June. I make a motion to approve the Dean's Mill School invoice for a total of $275,087.07.
White, second?
All right, a motion was made and seconded by June and Blunt to approve Dean's Mill School invoices in the amount of $275,087.07. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed say nay.
Aye.
No nays. Okay.
All right.
Unanimous. Sandy, are you good with that? Did you get what you needed from that?
She's good.
Okay. Yep, let's do West Vine then.
So West Vine, they're similar in nature. Gilbane's, Colliers, and spell Colliers Project Leaders, right? Look at that. And for March, and then Northeast scoreboards, same conversation for the scoreboards, amount of $135,876.82.
So I make a motion we approve West Vine Street School invoices totaling $135,876.82.
Bobby Mitchell will second that motion.
All right. Thank you. A motion was made and seconded by June and Bobby to approve West Vine Street School invoices in the amount of $135,876.82. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed say nay. All right, no nays. So Sandy, unanimous again.
So Rob, what I'll probably do, because given our electronic, I'm going to transmit them to, I don't know if you have the capability of signing and scanning at home.
Yep.
Maybe you can sign, scan it, email it to June, and June can scan it and send it to me, and I'll send it off to Jim Sullivan.
Okay.
We can do that. That'd be great. All right.
Yep.
Good.
Yep, we'll get there.
Good. Then invoices, the other one, and I'll just bring it up, Nate had sent me some two change orders last Friday, and I just got to them Monday. I just wanted to share them with you. I don't think we're asking for approval, but I figured just show them to you at this moment. I got to vet them out a little bit more with Nate. It's for some of the additional programming and revised programming in the cafeterias. Nate, I don't know if maybe you can opine on this a little bit for us.
just that it's in regards to the reprogramming that was directed by CES between the cafeteria rooftop unit and the kitchen exhaust fan, and the balancing and temperature control issues related with that. If you all recall, it was months that we've been going on with this and trying to come up with a resolution. The costs that are associated with this are costs to date. In talking with Peter, it sounds like until school comes back in session, we can verify at that point that the issues have been resolved in their entirety. But these are costs to date that are accrued from Ferguson, ABS, and Train.
So one's about 9,400, the other one's about 6,500. I just wanted to kind of touch it. We don't have to do anything with it at this meeting, but wanted to kind of make you aware of it for the next meeting.
Yep. All right, Chuck. So you're gonna work with Nate, make sure this all seems straightforward, and then let us know next meeting.
Yeah, I like to have the design team review it as well, make sure it's reasonable and fair from their perspective as well. So.
All right. Seems good to me.
Yeah. Thank you. Then just
thanks for the heads up on that.
Yeah, I figure warm you up. Hate to hit you with it cold. So, and then the project closeout again. Colliers, I've started reconciling our system, the financials, going through, making sure all the change orders have been submitted to the state, making sure our financials are. We're real tight on all our reconciliations to date with Jim Sullivan. So until we really get closed out and get all the change orders closed out with Gilbane, there's not much we can do to really start it, because we just have to get all the numbers finally in. So whenever this probably be, I'm guessing this fall at this point.
Okay. All right. So Chuck, if that closes out your item 9.
Yes, sir.
We'll skip item 10 since there is not an item 10. Go right to item 11. Who made this agenda? So looks like item A, we already talked about that. We'll skip item B, go right to item C. We talked about that. Final building committee walkthrough. So we had planned in March and then in April, sort of after Gilbane had completed their punch list item, we had planned to tour the school. So, Peter, I'm going to look to you for guidance on, one, if that's possible, and two, how we would accomplish that. And I'm not going to ask you to answer that sitting here at the table right now, but to give it some thought, maybe talk with Van, talk with Alexa, whatever you think is the right thing to do. Even if, if it's a small group, we do it like in a subcommittee format with a couple people and do a walk.
Okay, I'll bring that up with Van tomorrow.
Yeah, I'd appreciate that. Just, we want to do the right thing, whatever the right thing is. We had always intended to get this walkthrough done. Obviously, COVID-19 might change that. But let us know what you guys think.
Okay, we'll do.
Okay, thank you. Let's move to item E. This is an item I think that either you and Dan had requested we add. I'm certainly not opposed to paying for this. It's the cost that you incurred to cover the project. At this point, what I would suggest is, I think probably the way to get reimbursed is to invoice us.
Okay.
If that makes sense, and we can handle it next month as part of, it stays within this fiscal year.
Okay, we'll do.
You can work with I'm gonna forget his name, the finance guy.
Tim Sullivan.
Tim Sullivan.
Gary Shadow.
Gary
Oh,
Shadow.
okay.
You can work with Gary to get an invoice for Chuck, right?
Okay.
Or whoever is collected, is that right, Chuck? You would collect that invoice?
Yeah, that's probably the cleanest way to do it so that we can put it into the package. You can make the motion on it, and then how it gets transferred internally, Tim Sullivan can take care of it.
All right, that would be, yeah.
That way
This is Bobby. This is Bobby. We're going to have two different invoices, correct? One for each school?
I would assume so. If not, I would recommend splitting them. 47 and 53% like we've done maybe.
Okay, I'm just.
Yep. Thanks, Bobby. So Peter, if you could help us with that with Gary, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay, and then the last one, item F. This is something we talked about when we last met face to face in February about the dumpster enclosures and getting those to look good again, and even with no doors. So, Peter, I thought what we had said, I'm going on memory, is that you were going to try and work with one of the contractors, come up with some recommended solution and associated cost. I don't know if that's, obviously that probably got low priority.
It went off my radar with everything that's going on, but we did take all the broken doors off.
Yeah.
To clean it up a little bit, but that's going to be certainly a really good summer project, and I think I'm going to have my crew do it because we're being able to address an awful lot of our cleaning and summer wish list items right now. So we're gonna have some time to do these things that normally we don't have time to do. So I think we can probably repair this in house.
Well, if you need some money to,
I'll come up with a list for you.
Yep. Just get with us so that we can get it funded and get it finished.
Sure. Yep, we'll do.
We want it to look as good as it practically can.
Yep,
right?
We'll make it look nice.
All right, thank you. All right. Does anyone have anything else for item 11? Okay, if not, let's go to what is item 12. Does anyone have any new business?
This is June. It's not new business, but I noticed that we have a call-in user number 5, and they're not identified.
Oh, okay.
So they should be identified. I don't know.
Yeah. Who is on the phone?
Kathy.
I have Kathy identified already.
Did we get Julie? Oh no, I saw Julie.
Yep, I'm one of the callers too. Can you see our actual phone number? I'm the 860-912-6178 number.
Yeah, Julie, the phone number doesn't show up. It just says call-in user 5.
Gotcha.
That might be. Talk again, please.
Sandy?
860-912-6175 is my number. So you saying that's not coming up?
Yeah, it won't show it. It just says a call-in user, but I think that might be you because I thought I renamed you, your number, but I don't. Unless I'm missing out. I thought I renamed it.
Yeah, no, okay, then that's it. So that's Julie, because Kathy is identified.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure we have everybody, because it's being recorded.
And then item 12, was old business, and it was just that one thing with the smoke detector in the MDF room at both Dean's Mill and West Vine. And can't recall, Peter, I thought that was something that we were going to try and tackle without asking Gilbane for help on that.
Yeah, no, I know, and Greg can back me up on this, that with the building is fine as is. We're adding this just to appease our fire marshal, I'm almost sure we did it. I've got to double check because I had Jack Lamb in there and he did do some work in there. And I think that's been done. I think we installed the smoke detector.
You could check on that when we meet on the next meeting. We can just
I'll have that answer for you.
That'd be great. Okay. Before we reach item 14, does anyone have anything else to discuss at our meeting? If not, I would like to thank everyone for figuring out a way to get into this meeting, whether you called in or WebExed in, if that's a word. But thank you for your attendance. Thanks for being a part of our meeting and keeping us rolling here in terms of getting the bills paid and keeping the project going as we get to the end game here. As I hear communications from Peter or anyone else, I'll try and keep them forwarded out to all of you so you're aware of what's happening. And at this point, I think we can move to adjournment. We just need a motion in a second.
So moved, Bobby.
Jim, I'll
All right, so I think we'll just go with Bobby and June. Those are the first two I heard. Sandy, are you good on the minutes? Did you get everything that you needed? Did you have any questions before we close out?
It's good.
And Sandy, this is Julie. Just let me know what's going to be easier for you to have me sign to keep moving forward. Just email me or let me know what's easier for you. Thank you.
All right. All right, everybody. Thank you again, and I really appreciate